What you see here are some very creepy submerged animatronics that we've never talked about on this channel. Today you ranked 12 submechanophobia-inducing objects, including animatronics, props, and statues. I'm Walt, the animatronic duck, and I'm joined by Will Engel to talk about these creepy animatronics. From mechanic dragons to horrifying serpents. This video was suggested by you, so leave a comment on what we should cover next. And remember, I always quack back.
Warning, if you don't like the video and subscribe, these animatronics will appear the next time you go swimming. Don't say we didn't warn you. Number 12. Splashing Dolphin, Freizeitpark Ruhpolding. This next entry, in our opinion, is not scary at all. In fact, it's a bit silly and cute. However, for some people, the idea of being splashed by this mechanical dolphin can be quite unsettling. I can understand how seeing the mechanical parts and watching the dolphin descend in this manner might seem rather bizarre. But where can you find this creature? Well, this dolphin can be found in Germany, precisely at Freizeitpark Ruhpolding, a family amusement park with over 55 years of history. It boasts 60 attractions, including roller coasters, mechanical games, and displays of animated props. It's like a smaller and less detailed version of Efteling in the Netherlands, but with great charm. This park features several fairy tale displays, and among them is this dolphin, which is not a part of any specific fairy tale, but has been an icon of the area and this park for over 50 years. In this exhibit, you can see a small pond with a bridge, and on it rests our curious dolphin. This mechanical figure operates via a button that guests can press, but they'd better run if they don't want to be soaked by the splash from this dolphin. Here's a question. For those who fear these kinds of machines, would you dare touch this button? Number 11. Rainforest Café Nashville, Hippo. We've talked about the Rainforest Café many times before. After all, it's an awesome place full of animatronics, and we love animatronics. And if you want to know more about it, you can watch this video, The Rise and Fall of the Rainforest Café, where we talk about how this restaurant became a reality and what happened to it. But just to summarize, this jungle-themed restaurant chain was founded all the way back in 1994 and quickly grew until it had locations all over the world. Sadly, because of several reasons which we covered in the video we mentioned, many of these locations had to shut down, and nowadays, there are only 22 locations out of the 60 locations that used to exist. One of these locations is the Nashville, Tennessee location, which opened on May 12, 2000. This location has several animatronics, as any Rainforest Cafe should have, but one of them stands out to the submechanophobia community. This terrifying hippo. This hippo can be seen partially submerged in water. He moves up and down while some fog surrounds him, and the jerky movements make it seem pretty creepy. Not only that, but its mouth drops into the water, making it a submechanophobia nightmare. People also wonder why this hippo seems to have jaguar eyes. Now, of course, that ear wiggle is pretty cute, but the rest of it is too scary for some people to stay around to notice it. The animatronic size, weird movements, and the fog around it makes this sight pretty disturbing. Sadly, in the past couple of years, he's deteriorated a bit, and doesn't move as much as it did before. But hopefully, he will be repaired and maybe go back to his former scary self. Number 10. Jungle Expedition, Avonturenpark, Hellendoorn. This ride has already been featured on our channel in the Arachnophobia video, where we discuss this gigantic yet peculiar spider. This boat ride is located in the Netherlands at Avonturen Hellendoorn and takes us on a quest to rescue Roger, an adventurer, and his parent, Gielsnabel. Throughout the journey, we discover clues in their audio logs. The ride is decorated with jungle ruins, and the theme is set in the jungle. And as in any good jungle adventure, animals cannot be missing. During the ride, we can see toucans, chimpanzees, tigers, crocodiles, all of them sadly in statue. We say sadly because, obviously, we would prefer them as animatronics, don't you think? Fortunately, there is an animated prop that will be a total nightmare for submechanophobics. Just before entering the cave full of spiders, we pass by a small body of water. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a gigantic and strange hippopotamus emerges from the depths. The size of it and seeing the water so murky make this animatronic worthy of this list. So much so that this is what the Duck Squad thinks of this hippo. And in case you were wondering, yes, we managed to rescue Roger from the spiderweb safe and sound. What do you think? Is this animal worthy of the list or not? Number 9. Whale Adventures, Europa Park. We've already talked about the incredible Europa Park and its amazing dark rides in this channel several times. But this time, we want to talk about a ride that, while it might be on a bit of the short side, is full of submechanophobia elements. We're talking about Whale Adventures, a boat ride that takes us to observe humpback whales. This ride is located in the Iceland area of Europa Park, and is packed with animatronics and animated props, like these mice. Although the ride is a bit short, the level of detail is impressive. However, as mentioned earlier, this ride is full of creatures that can cause submechanophobia. Right at the start of the ride, we encounter this semi-submerged beluga. In our opinion, for some reason, it's not as terrifying, perhaps due to its cute face. But that's not all. During the journey, after passing this creature, we encounter a kind of iceberg with a small opening full of seals. The most curious or strange thing is that this structure triggers a chill down our spine because seeing it semi-submerged in the water with all those heads sticking out of it makes it look like a terrifying submechanophobia fusion of iceberg and seal. Yikes. If that weren't enough, our journey takes us inside a cave where we encounter this animatronic, which for many is a true nightmare. This whale is too close to the boat, and not only that, it's immense. Furthermore, its semi-submerged body can be seen through the water, and the way it moves its tail gives an eerie feeling. Not only that, but the animatronic spits water. The dark environment doesn't help alleviate the situation either. This whale has made a significant impact despite being very beautiful. It still scares visitors. What do you think? Beautiful or nightmare fuel? Number 8. Excalibur, Drayton Manor Park. Excalibur was a boat ride that opened in 2003 at Drayton Manor Park in the UK. The ride was unique and very special because it told the story of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, but with a twist. It was told from the perspective of the dragons instead of the knights. And if this wasn't twist enough for you, here's another surprise coming. The ride takes us to Castleville, a new housing development where the knights are the developers, trying their hardest to push you into signing the contract as soon as possible to buy these new houses. But suddenly, a voice takes over, introduces herself as Cantata, and tells us that she is beneath the water, dragging us along. This is pretty creepy to think about if we're honest. The ride begins with a water wall where we see the Lady of the Lake showing us the sword Excalibur. This is our first encounter with the submerged prop. Cantata tells us her side of the story. Apparently, the whole lake used to belong to the dragons until the knights came swanning in, building houses on what has always been the dragon's home. During the ride, we see many scenes of dragons fighting knights. One particularly terrifying sight is a serpent dragon spinning in the lake. This sight is quite terrifying due to the size of the prop and the fact that it's in murky water. Additionally, seeing that it's only part of this machine makes you think that the rest of the body is underwater. This effect is complemented in the next section of the lake, where we can see another section of the dragon's body fighting against a knight, but this time very close to our boat, splashing and propelling bubbles. It may not be the same for everyone, but for us, seeing the serpent spin in the water causes a great deal of fear, making this prop extremely unpleasant, at least for us. The ride finally ends when we meet Cantata and her family, who finally persuade us not to buy the houses and hope to do the same with the next group of buyers. This ride looks fantastic, but it sadly closed in 2011. But it still lives on in the minds of many Drayton fans, and in the nightmares of submechanophobics. Number 7. Epic Voyage to Moonhaven. Do you remember the Blue Sky Studios movie where the characters shrink to the size of tiny insects? Well, if that's something you'd be interested in experiencing, you're in luck, because there's an incredible boat ride called Epic Voyage to Moonhaven. This ride is located at Genting Skyworlds in Malaysia. The boat ride features several animatronics. At the beginning, we can see an animatronic of Professor Radcliffe Bomba. From there, we encounter many animatronics and screens. If you're a fan of the movie, you'll be pleased to know that there are also animatronics of Mub and Grub, complete with mouth movements and all. This boat ride is pretty cool and it has great quality. However, one thing that stands out in the ride is a very simple animatronic that has taken many people by surprise. The submerged animatronic of a boggin. The boggins are malicious creatures from the movie. This animatronic appears out of nowhere, with a light illuminating its rise from the water. The animatronic is very simple, but its jerky movements and the surprising manner make it somewhat disturbing. Many of these people say it bears a resemblance to the kappa, those Japanese creatures we covered in another one of our videos. Clearly, we can see the resemblance, and in fact, they emerge in a somewhat similar way. The animatronic is extremely rare in the world of Submechanophobia. Nobody has featured it, and it has very few mentions on social media. So let's show a little love to this boggin by leaving a frog in the comments. After this animatronic appears, the ride becomes super creepy with giant rats, dark atmospheres, crows, and creatures attacking you. And then we go back to a nice boat ride. And while the animatronics are simple, the ride is great. Number 6. Pirate Skeleton. A Pirate's Adventure, Treasure of the Seven Seas. Disney parks are full of hidden attractions and things to do, and that is exactly the case with this following hidden gem, where we can find a Submechanophobia-inducing animatronic. A Pirate's Adventure, Treasure of the Seven Seas is a hugely overlooked attraction at Magic Kingdom's Adventureland. The original attraction debuted back in 2013 and was closed in 2020 due to the pandemic, but it thankfully returned in 2021 as part of Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary celebration. The goal of this quest is to help Captain Jack Sparrow locate the treasures of the Seven Seas and fight off Captain Barbossa, the Royal Navy, and other enemies. If guests help Captain Jack succeed in all the missions, they'll be welcomed as part of his new crew. If not, they'll face the wrath of the cruel sea, alone. To begin this quest, you have to go to Caribbean Plaza in the former Crow's Nest camera shop, where you will get a map and a magic talisman. Or you can apply the talisman functionality to your magic band. You'll be directed to one of the themed desks, where a symbol will appear on your screen, letting you choose out of the 5 different quests you've chosen to embark upon. Your next step is to select the corresponding quest map from the display. Locate the correct symbol on the map, and you're free to follow in Captain Jack Sparrow's footsteps as you begin your mission around Adventureland. Follow the route on your map to the various stations around Adventureland as you work through your mission. Each quest takes about 15 to 20 minutes to complete and incorporates 4 or 5 different locations. When you reach the correct spot, you can activate each pirate-themed special effect by tapping your talisman to the symbol. Then watch as the park comes alive, with an animatronic snake that spits water, an animatronic parrot, talking skulls, and even a panther with light-up eyes. And in one of the quests is where we can find our Submechanophobia-inducing friend here. In the Guardian's Curse quest, you have to lure an evil British captain into a trap and lay claim to the treasure of the Indian Ocean. This mission is located between the entryway to the Jungle Cruise and behind the Swiss family treehouse. And when you use your talisman against a wax seal in this wooden box, the skeleton captain emerges from the water in front of us, letting us know that he was cursed because of the treasure, and swears he will get revenge on us as soon as he finds out how to break the curse. This submerged pirate has all the elements to terrify people with Submechanophobia. Not only is it a submerged prop that emerges from a murky body of water, but he is also a skeleton captain who is cursed and threatens us with revenge as soon as he breaks the curse. Number 5. Jungle Cruise Elephant. The animatronics from the Jungle Cruise are to blame for the existence of countless semi-submerged animatronic animals around the world, as we've seen in previous videos and even in this one. We've discussed these animatronics in our in-depth Disney Submechanophobia video, in case you want to watch it. However, almost everyone who has talked about these animals focuses on the hippos and overlooks the elephants, especially this gigantic pachyderm that fully submerges to appear by surprise. This specific animatronic has generated a great deal of excitement, which is why it appears so high on the list. Many people say that because it looks so realistic, it doesn't seem terrifying. But my goodness, even though it may not look like a machine, its size and shape in the water are extremely intimidating. Just take a look at this scene and see how many semi-submerged and submerged animatronics there are. It's the worst nightmare for any submechanophobe, or the dream of those who find these animatronics fascinating. What few people talk about is how terrifying these scenes are at night. The dark atmosphere, plus the spotlight from the boat, makes the creepiness of these animatronics shine. They look like creatures hidden in the night, ready to catch us if we make even the slightest noise. Another incredible thing is that when the water is drained, these animatronics look 1,000 times more chilling, as you can see their mechanical parts along with the realism of the animatronic. An interesting fact about these elephants is that they aren't just in the water. Many times, these elephants imitate Dumbo and fly through the air. You might think we've gone crazy, but no. Many times when maintenance is performed on these elephants, they are transported by helicopter due to their size. And you might think this practice is sporadic, but no. Elephants have often been seen flying into or out of Disney to be repaired. So these elephants not only enjoy the water, but also panoramic views from the heights. Would you like to see how they transport these elephants for repairs? Let us know your answer in the comments. Number 4. Snake River Expedition. The fate of this ride is very sad because it's currently closed and deteriorating very rapidly. This ride is located at Cedar Point in Ohio. Originally called Paddle Wheel Excursions, it permanently closed in 2011. However, for the park's 150th anniversary, they decided to bring back this attraction, but this time, fully interactive and filled with animatronic actors and special effects. Imagine Jungle Cruise mixed with a great movie ride. This ride is full of interactive surprises. For example, every time the boat arrives at a scene, it activates. For instance, in one scene, we can see a raccoon hanging and an animatronic bear fighting with fish. Throughout the journey, we encounter various animatronic animals like sleeping bears, mischievous beavers, drunken raccoons, even a bandit shootout, and wolves. But undoubtedly, the most terrifying part, and the reason why we're talking about this ride, is the encounter with a man-eating boa constrictor. This creature is semi-submerged in the river, and it wraps a small boat around its body. To make things worse, the boa has a mechanism that makes its coils move all over the boat, giving it a quite terrifying effect. This snake also sprays water at the boat. In this scene, we can also see vultures atop the boat. This attraction opened in 2021, but over time it worsened, removing many of the actors, losing its storyline, and many of the effects stopped working. In March 2024, Cedar Point announced that the ride would permanently close due to rising costs. They stated, "Every year, we evaluate guest ridership, feedback, and usage of our attractions, and make decisions accordingly as we plan for the future." It is a very sad decision because this ride was great. Did you ever get to experience it? Let us know in the comments. Number 3. Lakeview Farms, Dragon and Shark. And we've reached our top contenders. It's indeed a rare surprise that this dragon and its shark friend rank so high on the list. These submechanophobia nightmares were found in Ohio, more specifically at the pumpkin patch of Lakeview Farms. The pumpkin patch dates back to 1987, when it began as a small vegetable plantation. Over time, the pumpkins were a hit, and they expanded, creating a miniature railroad, corn and hay mazes, a themed Halloween store, and best of all, 3 paddle boats that navigate a 17-acre lake. In this lake reside 2 submechanophobia abominations. First, we can see a small boat with 2 scarecrows with pumpkin heads, and then suddenly, out of the water emerges a mechanical shark. The terrifying aspect of this shark is that it appears utterly abandoned, as it is entirely corroded by the water and full of rust. To make matters worse, this shark spits water, and suddenly, without any prior notice, the mechanism activates, and the shark aggressively submerges back into the water. Then we can see a pirate raft, and again, without a warning, a metal dragon jerks out of the water bubbling underneath its long neck, giving an even more terrifying aspect to the scene. The design of the dragon is somewhat strange and even a bit rough, but that makes it more mechatronic, and seeing water fall over its metallic surface makes it look very unsettling. Besides, the metallic props make very strange sounds, which makes many people's skin crawl. At first, it didn't seem so terrifying to us, but after asking you, the Duck Squad, we could see why it ranks so high. For instance, Blind as a Bat Studios wrote the following. For me, why it's so scary is that, for one, it looks like it's in a lake and not a cute attraction that was obviously made by people. And how I can't see its whole body, so my imagination fills in the rest to make it really scary. Definitely deserves to be top 3. This makes a lot of sense to us too. Zarter Plays wrote, "Personally, it's because it looks so mechanical and janky. For me, animatronics that look broken or move in unnatural or jerky ways creep me out. Like the Disney Dark Ride animatronics look more like big toys, but this thing looks like it was thrown in the lake and abandoned." Thank you so much for your insight. Unfortunately, the patch permanently closed in July 2019. The official Instagram page of the Pumpkin Patch announced that after 27 years, they would permanently close to the public. This makes these creatures even more terrifying because they are probably now abandoned and unused in the depths of that lake. Number 2. Medusa statue at Sea Life of Great Yarmouth. This statue caused quite a stir in our community tab when we shared this image, and it's no wonder. Seeing this enormous silhouette underwater is incredibly terrifying. But where did this image come from, and where is it located? Well, this Medusa statue is found in the Sea Life of Great Yarmouth Aquarium in the UK. This aquarium is one of the best in the area, housing animals of all kinds, from penguins and jellyfish to sharks and sea turtles. The aquarium is divided into several sections, such as one for observing stingrays and another for crocodiles. However, undoubtedly one of the best exhibits is the Ocean Tunnel, also known as the Shark Tunnel. In this tunnel, we can see sharks, other fish, and a gigantic sea turtle. The theme around this tunnel is the lost city of Atlantis, which, if you think about it, is the OG Submechanophobia story after all. A whole city underwater? That's a nightmare. While walking through this tunnel, you are surrounded by animals and get to see many submerged statues. Here's where we find this huge and terrifying statue that seems to be looking down at us. This Medusa is situated at the end of the tunnel. It is surrounded by fish and has luminous green eyes. Seeing the fish swimming so close to this huge, moldy statue sends a shiver down our spines. Not only that, but people get to see it very closely. We would not be able to be in that place for a long time. The environment and the size of the statue is what gives it the second place in our list, but maybe we would have rated it higher. Number 1. King Kong Aqua Safari Ride. We've covered many King Kong animatronics in our videos, but we've never talked about this particular one that can seem very creepy even to the bravest theme park guests. Serengeti Park in Hodenhagen, Germany, opened in 1974 as the largest safari park in Europe. Since then, it has grown and opened new areas. This park is a safari and a theme park that nowadays is divided into 3 zones: Serengeti Safari, Jungle Safari, and Adventure Safari. This last zone is the theme park part of this park. It has over 40 different rides like roller coasters and a Ferris wheel, and one of these rides is the Aqua Safari. This is a boat ride that takes guests to a fast-paced ride across the big lake, where we see scenes of animal props and animatronics like crocodiles and monkeys. But the big star in this ride is a huge King Kong animatronic that we can find almost at the end of the ride. This is a huge animatronic sitting under a waterfall. He moves his eyes and mouth while water falls on him, and you can hear him roar as you pass by on the boat. Probably the weirdest thing about this animatronic is its LED color eyes. You can see them change from red to green in seconds, which makes this sight plain weird. The fact that this animatronic is submerged in water and we can't see what's under it makes it terrifying for many people. Not to mention its size, which causes megalophobia for more than one. This King Kong animatronic was made from the same mold that created the other King Kong animatronics made by Park Attractions, a German ride manufacturer who created this attraction where Kong takes a ride vehicle, filled with 24 riders, and lifts it up into the air, shaking and twisting it with thrilling swinging movements. While the animatronic in Aqua Park is not full-bodied like the one in the other attraction, we can see the resemblance, and having such a huge animatronic surrounded by water makes this King Kong animatronic the #1 most terrifying animatronic on our list.
Did you enjoy the video? Consider subscribing, and even better, becoming a member or Patreon. You have no idea how much that helps us create more videos. Plus, you'll get access to posts and soon exclusive Q&A shorts with me. Links in the description and pinned comment. Thank you so much for watching the video.